Hello and welcome back. It has been a while, several weeks, but not as long as it was before I restarted. So today I am finally ready to make a video about my 2023 goals. I think I teased about doing that in one of my past videos. And to tell you the truth, I've been putting it off for a really long time. Actually, the first week of January, I sat down and I filled out the reflection page about my goals. I'm going to cover them up here. So I did this actually the first week of January, and my 3-year vision is progression, exploration, and focus. So those are kind of the 3 things that I want to focus on today. This year, is just making progress in a lot of different areas, to try some new things, and then focus, keep my eyes on the goal and not getting distracted. Because last year I also sat down and I came up with 4 goals for last year that I didn't really meet. The first goal was to move out of my parents' house, which I made progress toward. I bought my own place, but I didn't actually move out. So I didn't meet that in 2023. I will in 2024. My second goal was to lose weight, which I did the opposite of in 2023. Then I wanted to be more productive at work, which I wasn't, and I didn't even meet any of my sub goals in that area. And then my final goal from 2023 was to earn money outside my day job, which I did. Last year I earned about $3,500 from side hustles, mostly donating plasma, but I did a few other things. So I half met one of my goals, did meet one of my goals, and then the other 2 just completely almost ignored. So I'm hoping that this year I do a little bit better, but I do think it is important to sit down and do goals, and I think a lot of us have the same experience where we sit down with the best intentions of having these great, wonderful goals and then don't quite meet them. But I do think I made more progress than if I hadn't sat down and thought about things. And maybe I was overestimating what I had the capacity to do in 1 year, but sat down, thought about what I wanted. And I do think that is really helpful to setting goals, is if you don't know what you want, then, Anyway, so I did think about my goals, like I said, but I had to think about them a little bit harder before I felt ready to do this video. Because what I learned from last year is that I need to be better at setting goals that are realistic to me and not just setting anything that seems like would be nice. So I had to really sit and think about the goals that I was setting and what I wanted to do, and then figure out what was realistic and maybe what was too much of a stretch, and which goals really were fitting towards the vision words of progression, exploration, and focus. So that said, I'm just going to write them down. I am not a pretty decorator. I pulled out some stickers just in case I could find something to do decorating with, but I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're on my channel for pretty planning or pretty decorating, this is the wrong place for you. There's lots of wonderful creators that do beautiful planner decorating and lots of stickers, and they're very artistic. That is not me. Sorry, I'm just checking out the stickers that I had in my planner. I wish that I was artistically inclined, but I'm not. And I have learned not to try because I'm always just disappointed in the results. And it would be better for me just not make too much of an effort. So I have pretty colors, but I'm not going to be really decorating. So if that's what you're here for, I'm sorry. Which the only reason I mention this is putting my 2024 planner together video is the most viewed video on my channel. And I think I got not lots. I think I got multiple subscribers from it, which I have 9 subscribers, which is nothing. I'm so grateful for all of you that did hit the subscribe button, whether or not you intend to watch all my videos. Mind blown that anybody watched them at all. And it did encourage me to get this video out somewhat. But anyway, I feel like I need to mention, because the planner video is what got a lot of views and maybe got people to subscribe, I don't know how many planner videos I'm going to do, mostly because I am a very functional planner. And I'm going to kind of show you, and like this is what my planner looks like. And I'm probably going to have to blur a bunch of this because a lot of what I plan is work related, which I can't share on the internet. I mean, I could, I don't want to. There's not like an NDA or something saying I can't plan things, like tell people what I'm doing at work, but I don't want to put on the internet. I don't want to make it too easy to find me. I'm under no delusion that nobody's going to be able to figure out who I am and, you know, thus find me. But I don't want to make it too easy for people either. So, but this is basically what my planner looks like, depending on how well I blur things. But you can see, like, I just make lists in my planner. That's what I do. I have checklists. I have stickers that I sometimes use, but mostly when I'm planning, I'm just making checklists and checking them off, which I don't think is very exciting content. And since I can't really, or I'm not willing to really share what all of my work tasks are, I don't know that I can have many planner videos. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm going to tell you up front. I might do a few planner videos, like things like I'm doing now. If I ever reorganize my planner, I might do that. But if you're looking for a planner channel, that's not this. I think I'm going to focus more on budgeting and maybe lifestyle. I don't know. Right now I feel a little bit limited because I do live in my parents' house and I don't have a whole lot of space to film. And yeah, so when I do finally move out, I think next month I will be moving out, then my content may change a little bit. For today, I'm just going to make a list of my goals that I will stick in the front of my planner so that I'm reminded of them. But so I'm just going to start by writing 2023 goals at the top, which this is a hard decision, but I think actually I might use a marker. I might use a mild liner for this. I just kind of pulled stuff and pens out of my nightstand with different colors. So I think purple. We'll start with purple and we'll just call these 2024 goals. And do I already kind of have a sheet in my planner for these goals? Yes, but this is the slightly more aesthetic one where I break things down a little bit differently. So again, I think I'm going to have some like big goals and then some like mini breakdowns. But we'll start out with my financial goals. And I'm going to write those in green. So I actually have, I don't know, I think I'll just start with financial goals heading. We'll just call these financial. And I wrote down what these are on a Post-it note somewhere, because this is what I really had to think about before I was ready to plan this video, because I do want them to be realistic. So the first financial goal that I had is to pay $1,500 toward extra principal payments on my mortgage. And I know there's a lot of discussion on whether you should pay off a mortgage early. And I don't think everybody's going to think this is the wisest way for me to spend my money. What I will say is, I mean, $1,500 isn't a ton extra over the course of a year. This is honestly a little bit more than one of my monthly payments. So it's not a lot. It's what I feel like it's realistic with the other financial goals I have. But by doing this, I bought in 2023 in the summer when interest rates were starting to increase a lot. So my interest rate is 6.5%, which for me personally, I feel like that's really on the cusp on when it makes sense to pay extra on the mortgage. Because maybe I could earn more by just investing this money and leaving it. But over the course of my mortgage, I'm going to save $8,000 in interest by paying this early. Depending on like how this extra $1,500 in payments, like when they are made. But even if I just paid $1,500 extra on December 1st, I would save over $8,000 in interest over the course of my mortgage. And for me, I think that's worth it. There's also the psychological of, you know, just paying this early. I haven't had debt in a really long time, So even though a mortgage I think is a reasonable to have, I don't like the idea of owing somebody as much money as I owe on my mortgage. So, you know, that's my number one goal. My number two goal, which I don't know, maybe it's not actually number one and number two, but the second goal that I'm going to write down is I want to save $5,000 towards a home emergency fund. So this is going to be, you know, $5,000 just in case I need some sort of emergency repair. I have a condo, not a house, so I am paying for an HOA every month, which theoretically should cover a lot of ongoing regular maintenance, at least for the exterior and the grounds and things. But if I have a plumbing emergency, for instance, that will be on me. When I did buy my condo, I asked about special assessments, and they told me they hadn't had a special assessment in 10 plus years. They couldn't speak for the entire life of the condo because it predated anybody on the HOA. But even with that, I am very cognizant it could be a thing, so I would feel better having some money set aside specifically for home-related emergencies or potential special assessments. Ultimately, I'd like to have this be at $10,000, but for this year, with the other goals that I have, just for this year, I want to do $5,000. In addition to this home emergency fund, though, I do want to fund at least one, I'm going to call it major renovation or improvement. One, I mean, it's major for me. The two things that I'm looking at this year, unfortunately, are not really fun improvements. I'm trying, so my utility bills have been a lot higher than I wish that they were. And I think part of it is because it's not the condo isn't super well insulated when I replaced my HVAC. So I replaced my furnace and my air conditioner. And at the time, the installer noted that I should probably re-insulate the ducts and the attic, which I couldn't do at the time because there was other things that I wanted to do. The windows are also original. They're like 40 years old. They're single pane glass. So I'm looking at either re-insulating the attic and the HVAC ducts or replacing all of the windows in my house. So the first step, I think I can only afford one of those if I'm also trying to save towards a home emergency fund. So the first thing that I'm going to do is get an energy audit. And have their opinion on which will make the most impact on my energy bills. Both things I think should be done anyway, but that's the first thing, is get an energy audit. And then, you know, the second one is get the improvement done, or I guess get quotes, and then get improvement done. Okay. And think I'm just going to add, you saw my planner, I like check boxes, so I'm just going to add little dots with my dot pens. So when I do each of these things, I can check off that I have done them, and that will make me feel good at the end of the year where I can see how many things I've checked off. And I don't know that I'm going to meet all of these goals, but just like this past year, 2023, if I can meet some of them, I'll feel really good about this. And I put that pen away too early because I do have one last financial goal. So the reason it took me so long to do this video was when I did sit down to think about what I wanted to do this year, there was a lot of financial stuff I wanted to do, and I knew it was unrealistic. I did all of them. So I had to decide exactly what these goals were, and then what I needed to do to make them happen so that I wasn't just setting myself up for failure, kind of the way that I did last year. So you see, like, my numbers are kind of small. I can only do, I think I can handle one home improvement. I think I can save half of the home emergency fund that I want. And I think I can pay like $1,500 extra on the mortgage. And, oh, there was one other thing. I wanted to increase my general emergency fund to 7 months. So right now I actually have over 6 months. It started out as a year's emergency fund, and I had that funded for a long time. And then I got a new job, moved back to where I grew up in with my parents, a much more expensive city than I'd been living. And then I bought a condo. And so that dramatically decreased my emergency fund, all of those factors. It took it from 12 months to 6 months. So eventually I would like to have my emergency fund at 12 months again. That's not realistic with all the other, for this year, with all the other stuff that I'm doing. But I think it is realistic to push it up from like the 6.5 that it's at right now up to 7 months. Originally, I wanted to get it up to 8 months. But again, as I sat down to crunch my numbers and keep myself in check, I thought that might not be possible. So the 5th goal is actually a goal that I had last year, and that is to earn income on the side. So when I sat down, figured out what numbers were realistic, that included earning a little bit of money on the side. So what I need to do in order to make all of these other things happen, and this is a best case scenario where I don't have like unexpected expenses pop up, is that I need to earn $4,500 in side hustle. Or just additional money. And this is, you know, even including what I expect to get back on my taxes. So even if I do get a meaty tax refund, which I expect to this year after buying a house and making some improvements, and so I was eligible for like credits and things that I wasn't in past years, but even taking that into account, I think I need to earn an extra $4,500 this year, which is $1,000 more than I earned on the side last year. But my biggest money maker last year was making plasma donations and getting new donor bonuses, which I won't be as eligible for this year. There are a few places that I can get new donor bonuses repeatedly, but several that won't let me. And I don't know that my body can handle as regular of donations as I was doing last year for the entire year. So there's lots of things that I'm going to try. I'm going to continue with plasma donation. Obviously, I have some things that I can sell, but I don't want to turn this into a whole side business. Like things that I already have that I intend to sell, I'm going to sell. But I know that I'm not going to have the energy or the know-how to like become somebody that like buys things from a thrift store and sells them. But I do have some stuff that I can let go of, so I'll do that. I have some other ideas of ways that I can earn money, you know, just the normal doing surveys online and things like that. But I think I'm going to have to get a little bit creative. We'll see how well I do the first couple months of this year and adjust. I mean, $4,500 inside, how much is that per month? I can't do math. I don't have an exact number, but it's something like $391 and something cents. So almost $400 a month, which I did not do every month in 2023, obviously. But that's a lot every month. So we'll see how I do. But in order to make all of these goals work, again, if I don't have some other emergency that pops up, like a medical emergency that my HSA savings doesn't completely cover or something, then I can't make these goals. So this is minimum of what I need to do, to what I need to earn to make all of these things happen. This is assuming I don't get a raise. I think I'll probably get a small cost of living raise in July, which is when where I work, that's the fiscal year starts in July. So I'll probably earn a little bit of raise, but not a $4,500 in 6-month raise. So we'll see how it shakes out. And those are my financial goals for this year, which is kind of where I'm focusing a lot of my energy. So last year I had 4 like general goals and goal categories. I have 3 categories this year. And my financial is a category with lots of actual goals. My other 2 categories are not quite so. It's like one major thing with some additional steps I can take. But let's jump to the pink pen. The second, this isn't really a category, but we're just going to call it health. So I said already, one of the goals that I failed at last year was losing weight. And this year, I kind of thought about that. I do want to lose weight. And this is, I don't want to say it's an unpopular opinion on YouTube, but I know that weight can be, and weight loss can be a touchy subject on the internet. That's one of my goals, is to lose a bit of weight. But I wanted to think about, why do I want to lose this weight? And part of it is vanity, which I think is common. Part of it is vanity. I'm not going to lie about that. But also, I might have mentioned this in another video, I feel better at a lower weight. I feel better psychologically and I feel better physically. What I want to do is, instead of having a specific number this year, what all I'm going to say is this year will be a success if I get down to a healthy BMI. And I know BMI is not a perfect measure. You don't need to come in and talk to me about BMI. I know all the arguments against it. I know all the arguments for it. I don't think that BMI is appropriate for everybody. I do think for the majority of people, BMI can be a helpful tool in determining a realistically healthy weight. I do not think I am an exception to BMI. I think some people are. I don't think most people are. But for me, I'm definitely not an exception. So I want to get down to a healthy BMI. If I do that, that's a success. But I don't want to focus entirely on the numbers. So that's probably ultimately that's what I'm trying to get to, because I know that I feel better at that weight. Again, psychologically and physically, I feel better. But how am I going to do that? The first thing I think is just to focus on my activity. And in my trackers for when I made my planner, there was a tracker for activity. So I thought, well, what do I really want to do? Because I don't think it's just the weight. I think when I'm at a healthier weight, I'm more active in general. I'm more thoughtful about eating a balanced diet and getting the nutrition that I need for my body to work better. So while the BMI I think is a good measure of good end measure of whether these things that I'm trying are working, I do have a lot of sub goals underneath it that hopefully will work toward this goal. And then I can reassess. So this is just one way of measurement. I think also just the way that I feel physically at the end of year could be a helpful measurement, but I digress again. So what are the actions that I'm hoping this might help with? The first is regular physical activity. And I think this one's hard to pinpoint because right now where I want to be is I want to be getting at least 3 hours of intentional activity a week. So this is, not my regular, I need to walk into the office from public transit. That's not really intentional activity. That's, being a human. So when I say 3 hours of intentional activity, I mean, I'm doing this thing specifically to get my body moving. So this can be walking. It could be going for a walk on a weekend afternoon. It could be using the walking desks at my work for half an hour. It could be having a dance party for 15 minutes. It could be going on a run. It could be doing yoga, but something that I did intentionally, largely to get an activity. So 3 hours of intentional activity per week, which I'm definitely not at right now. And I have definitely shot over this amount of intentional activity every week in the past. But I think for now, this is what I'm working on. If I meet this goal, I can bump it up and be more specific. One other sub goal that I might want to do, because I do traditionally enjoy running. Right now, I'm not in the habit, and it's also hard because it's cold. So this is more of a question mark. So I'm going to kind of nest it under here, but maybe be half marathon ready. I have run a half marathon before. It wasn't like an official marathon, but during the pandemic, the last time I was really, really into running, I did run the half marathon distance on my own. And I feel like that's a good distance for me. I think marathon training is more than I'm willing to put into activity, at least at this point of my life. But half marathon I thought was a good distance, required a reasonable amount of training that was doable with my life. I'm not sure I'm ready to commit to it, for this year, but it's niggling in the back of my head. I might want to do that this year, maybe run an actual half marathon, but we'll see how I feel in the next couple of months and how well I'm doing at hitting these 3 hours of intentional activity and how much of that is running. I went running a few times this week and I remembered why I like it so much, but it's also cold and I don't have a treadmill or access to a treadmill right now. So those are two kind of sub goals that are sitting together. The next thing that I want to do is track my food intake. Now you'll notice that I say track. Right now I do just want to track it. I don't really have a calorie limit in mind or anything like that. When I have to sit down and say this is what I ate, I'm less likely to mindlessly eat an entire bag of goldfish. I will still eat the goldfish, but I will stop when I get like 2 servings of goldfish. When I get used to tracking food and being more mindful about the food that I'm actually putting in my body, I do want to be more intentional about things. I know that I need to eat more protein, so this might turn into like getting more protein in my diet. It might be focused on getting more plant-based foods in my diet, but we'll see. For now, I'm just leaving it here. So those are the two things that I'm really going to work on towards getting a healthy BMI this year, and we will see. So I would be lying if I said I don't have numbers in the back of my head, but for my official goals, this is where I'm sitting. Partly because I want to set myself up for success, and partly because I was a child, like I was a teenager in the early 2000s, and that's given me a very warped sense of, what an attractive, healthy body looks like. So I'm trying to, ignore or get rid of those demons. I don't know if I can fully get rid of those demons. I know it's impacted the way I think of my body, and I hope that's relatable. And I hope this wasn't like a triggering section for anyone, but this is what I'm going to try to do, because I think for me this is something that I can do. These are things that I can do without my entire focus being in an unhealthy place, like unhealthfully focused on my body. Okay, so that's financial goals, that's health goals. Oh, let's add some dots. We'll add some. I don't think I have a red dot pen, so we'll just do brown dots. So that's not even a dot pen, that's a mild liner. I don't have very many dot pens in my little collection right now. I have 3 and none of them really match. So I guess we're not matching because we're just trying to get stuff done. So we're going to have a dot for healthy BMI, a dot for intentional activity week, and a dot for tracked food intake. I don't need to be perfect to mark these off at the end of the year. I think I just essentially want to see that I've made progress. So if we can look at my trackers from my planner really quickly. We're not going to look at all of them, but you can see I have been using my little dots, so you can see this make bed. I have been making my bed about half the time, which for a lot of you, that's horrible. For me, this is great because I have never been a bed maker. I have never been somebody that always has a freshly made bed, so making it half the time is actually a huge win for me. So I've been tracking there. I've been tracking my reading. So you can see I've been reading almost every single day, and it's been, I was reading a nonfiction book, and in between I was reading fan fiction, and I was reading a fiction book this past week. So I've been doing okay on reading. And then my move body is where I kind of failed. I do need to add a dot on, I think it was either Thursday or Friday I walked on the treadmill desk, but I don't have my brown dot pen, so I need to add that in there. So you can see I've not been doing so great on moving body, but hopefully having this goal written down will help me do that a little bit more regularly. Okay, so the last like goal category I have is about product. So these are like things that I want to do this year. Like they're not really goals. They're like accomplishments or tasks I want to complete this year. So I think I'm just going to call this personal projects, I guess, complete projects. And when I say complete projects, what I really mean is get caught up on my photos. I think we all take a lot of photos that just then sit on our phone or on our computer and we never look at. And for a while I was doing really good at corralling these, but I kind of fell off and I need to start doing them again. So there's several things that I want to finish. So the first is I took a long vacation in 2019 and I kind of blogged about it, but I want to put my blog posts in all my folders. Photo book for vacation. So I want to finish my 2029 vacation photo book, and I worded this really, really oddly, but that's the first one I want to do. I also took a vacation last year, so I want to finish and I'd done nothing with those photos. I put some of them on Instagram. So I want to corral all of those into a photo book. And then we had a family reunion, and I usually put those into a photo book. So 2023 family reunion photo book. I don't think I'm actually going to get all of these done this year, but I'm just going to put down all of the projects that I've kind of started or that I want to do this year, and then hope that I get like half of them done. I also, I already told you I was a teenager in the early 2000s. I was part of the generation where Facebook was my college experience. So I put a lot of my college photos on Facebook, and I would like to go from Facebook albums to physical photo books. I'm somebody that really loves physical media and physical things that I can hold in my hand. I have an e-reader, but I still love reading paper books. I still like owning DVDs and physical CDs and physical photo books to leap through. I tend to look at my photo albums and my photo books a lot more than I look at digital albums. So I'd like to change these to physical albums. Let's see, I can actually spell albums. Will I get them all done this year? I have years and years of Facebook albums. No, but if I can get like 2 of them done, that would be great. So these are like my photo book things. So, and we'll do 2 for Facebook. I think I have a lot more than 2 Facebook photo albums, but we'll stick to that for now. Let's see. I also, when I got my condo, so I learned how to knit in 2022, knit a bunch of stuff, and then I bought a condo in 2023 and have knit nothing since March. So when after I finally get moved in, I want to start knitting again, and I would like to knit another sweater. I'm choosing between 2 different patterns right now. But I'm not allowed to buy my yarn until I physically get moved in, but that's another project that I want to finish. And I would like to learn how to sew. I can like do really, really basic sewing tasks, but I'm not good at it. I sewed a skirt once upon a time. And I'm going to put in here dress because I have this idea of I should knit a sweater and then I should knit a dress that I can wear with the sweater. Like knit a dress that I like that I can wear on its own, but also wear with the sweater. So I don't know if that will actually happen, but these are some projects I want to do. And I think I also have some goals for my job, like, you know, where I get the majority of my money, but I'm not going to talk about those here. So I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, if you came here for like really pretty aesthetic looking stuff, I'm sorry, because that's not me. While I wish that it were me, that's just not my skill set. But I think having this written down in a way that seems more natural to me than this reflections section. Like I said, I did fill out the reflections section, but I like having this really kind of succinct version to have at the very beginning of my planner, right before some of these tracking tasks. Anyway, I hope this video wasn't a complete waste of anybody's time. I'll try to get it edited and up quickly so it's out before February. But if you watch this whole thing, thanks so much. You're a champ. And I will see you next time. Bye.